Alrighty guys, bam, we got this thing right here. So this is a valve. This is an exhaust cutout valve or a loud valve. I think loud valve is actually a brand name, so we're gonna call this a exhaust cutout. You can find these things online, different places, different prices, many different styles also. That is kind of why I'm making this video, because I ordered the wrong valve. So this is a normally closed vacuum actuated valve. They also make normally open vacuum actuated valves, and they make the opposite. So they make normally closed, normally open boost activated valves. So what I thought I was ordering when I got this one was a normally closed boost activated valve. So when it saw boost, it would open the valve and open the exhaust. Not what I got here, and I've had it for about a year now. It's been sitting on the shelf, and it's one of those things that it's not expensive enough that you need to return it to get your money back, but it's not cheap enough that you just forget about it. So you keep it on the shelf and you're like, I'm gonna try to use that later, but it's not worth shipping it back and paying a 20% restocking fee or whatever it was. So another question that I have with this thing is how much vacuum it takes to actuate the valve. So that's what I'm gonna do in this video, is put it on the Mighty Vac, and I'll show you guys how much vacuum it takes to move the valve. So this should be pretty similar to a lot of the other ones that you find like online or on eBay. I did test it already, and it works within normal vacuum, and I'll show you guys that. But then the other part, I'll probably do it in this video too, is what I'm going to try to do with this one, because it has been sitting so long and I really don't care about it anymore, is I think I'm going to cut this actuator off and weld it to the other side, and I'm going to change the pattern of this. So normally closed vacuum actuated, and I'm going to flip it to the other side and make it do the other thing. So what I want is a valve that is closed at idle, but then when I'm wide open or I lose vacuum, it opens. So I need to reverse the function of this valve, and that's what I'm going to try to do. Okay, so let's do this. So we got the Mighty Vac on the valve, and I'm going to draw a vacuum and see when the valve opens. So at about 7 inches of vacuum, and now you can see the valve is starting to open at about 7 inches of vacuum. And it's actually opening at a pretty good rate. So 10 inches, it's about halfway open. And 13 to 14, it's about all the way open. Definitely by 15 inches of vacuum, it is completely actuated 90 degrees. So I'll explain what I mean by that in a little bit. But for this valve, it's open. But if you had a normally open valve and you were talking about it being actuated 90 degrees at 15 inches of vacuum, that means anytime you're idling or cruising, the valve would be completely closed if you had a normally open valve. So that's actually pretty good. So if we were to simulate a low vacuum situation like accelerating, it moves pretty quickly. So we got, let's say, 17 inches of vacuum at idle, 16, mash the throttle, it changes. So again, this valve is going to be opposite of what I want, but we're going to fix that later. right, so that at the end of the day, let's do the same thing. Now we have closed at about 12 inches of vacuum and open, where before it was the opposite. So welded this thing on. I'll probably weld it a little bit more, but it's just kind of tacked in place to verify that it works. And as I bring the vacuum up, it starts to close, and just over 10, and about once we get to about 12, it's completely closed. So I'll bring it up to about 20, bring it down slow, and you can watch it move. So that's about what I have now. So basically by about 10 or 12 inches of vacuum, which this truck runs at, it's closed. And then once I get on the throttle a little bit, wink, it'll open it up and make some noise. So that's kind of what you saw in the video, and that was actual engine vacuum. And the valve was completely closed most of the time until I really got on the throttle. So very cool. I think that's gonna work for what I want. Happy holidays. Spirit fingers and orange Band-Aid.